What's going on? What's going on, sippers and sniffers? What's good? What's good? It's your boy, Hidden Gems, back again on this beautiful Thursday, you know, out here in Texas where the sun is shining bright as hell and hot as hell. All right. But what's going on? What's going on, people? Glad y'all could come out and join us, man. It's been a heck of a time trying to find our times to get on here and get live and spend some time, share some conversation with y'all. But, with no further ado, we're going to go ahead and get to the point. A lot of y'all saw the thumbnail that we have posted on IG. You know what I'm saying? You saw basically, you've heard the conversations that have been going around in the community recently, which is good and everything. But I felt the need to, as the thumbnail says, keep it real and provide a little cynical take on what's really going on with this clones versus designer versus niche versus indie niche discussion that's going around, man. It's got a lot of negative connotation to it. A lot of people choosing sides and whatnot. And at the end of the day, our job as reviewers and people here is to keep it real with y'all. That's what we're going to do here tonight, For those who could make it, man, hey, come in, tell us your sin of the day, say what's up, and we'll go from there. I know we got a couple of other people online, but hey, we're going to go ahead and keep this as interesting as we can. Today, as you know, I have a special guest on here. It's never been on our channel, been on our family's channel, Dedrick, been out there going live with our boy Mo. I'm sorry, the Fragrance Plug, or some of y'all may still know him as D4G. All right. But, he's been making his waves around the community and already built a strong platform for himself, reviewing fragrances of all natures, niche, indie niche, dupes, as y'all would call them, and designers, And yeah, man, reached out to him. Had a good conversation about him, his direction, everything. Felt he was real genuine in his explanation and everything. And so, like anybody and everything else I do, had to bring him on and have a conversation with him. With no further ado, at this time, we have Walt. I'm going to go ahead and bring him up. But real quick, let me go ahead and shout out to the chat real quick. Give me a second, Walt. We got Dave. Well, first and foremost, let me go ahead and give a shout out to Jerry. What's good, baby? He said Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense is his fragrance of the day. Of course, none other than the little bro Dame. We got you on here. Scent of the day is ATH Aaron Terrence Hughes Odyssey Plus. Smelling good, baby. We appreciate that. Yeah, go ahead, Dame. Remind him to tap that like button. Got our guy Walt here, both in the chat and in the back. All right. Curtis knows. Brother, we'll be in touch. Love it when you show up, man. Hope everything out there overseas is good. Nate the Great, what's going on, man? Try to reach out to your father. I know he's doing good. Glad to see you doing good, man. What's going on? My God, Will the Thrill. Scent of the day is Boy Imperial. Smelling good. Percy, Central Texas representative. What's good, man? Scent of the day is Mancera Pearl. I haven't smelled that one in years, brother. Got to get my nose back on it. Mr. Gumbo, a.k.a. Hot Grease. I see you out there cooking in the chat. What's good, man? What's going on? None other than Rich Money Cash 1. Rich Money Cash, baby. The innovator and originator of the penny pull-upper. Boy, boy, boy. Glad to have you here, man. Glad to have you here, baby. Let me go ahead and make my way down. Rock Boy T, as always, my guy, Young Diddy, as he likes to put in his little avatars. What's good, man? Speechless by Lorenzo Pazzaglia. All right. And of course, that J. Chantel Body Oil Droop. I smell you, baby. Esteban, what's good? Scent of the day is Cashmere Bouquet by Delaroba Parfums. Smelling good, my brother. And of course, we're going to go ahead and scroll down. Let me get here. Sensually Explicit, my man. Day 3 Desert Rain. And of course, our guy Le Nomad 90. What's up, everybody? Send the day is Zerja Naxos. What's going on? Let me go ahead and bring my guy up with no further ado. Walt, aka Fatboy Finesse. What's good, my guy?
What's going on, man? Hey, boy, that camera look good on you now, boy.
Ooh, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look. If I had known it was going to be this vivid and this detailed, I would have gone and got an edge up, a haircut, and a trim. But, you know, hey, we got to make it do. I'm just happy it's working. Shout out to you for the little bit of help that you gave. Shout out to Neeb, Dedrick for a couple of recommendations, man. Shout out to y'all, man.
Yeah, bro, you look good, man. You look good. Look, and as Dame said, fuego. Yeah, you look good, bro. Yo.
Already. Now, I know you put your sin of the day already in the chat. Go ahead and bless us with it on the camera, man.
So we got the oldie but a goodie to me, Dolce and Gabbana. This is K King, whatever they want to call it. But this is the intense EDP version, just something fresh, you know, a little bit of leather, fruit in there. It's not the biggest projector, but with me being at work around these kids or whatever, I'm not really trying to be that loud. So works perfect when I got to go into the office. So yeah, that's what we're doing today, man.
Already. Well, my brother, hey, I went ahead and went with one of the new, I would probably say soon to be legend, because for right now, for me, this is getting the job done. And it speaks on what we're going to be talking about today, my brother. All right. Many people know that I show no discrimination on anything I wear. I don't care about the brand. If it smells good, it wears good. All right. Recently, I had to go to the Dallas wholesale. Shout out to my boy Mo. Shout out to my boy Juju from TikTok and whatnot. Had to get my hands on some clones, as y'all would call them. Me, I prefer to call them renditions because I do believe they have a twist to them. And today I am wearing none other than Afnan Electric.
You got that. It's electric.
You bet. You already know, baby. You already know.
It's electric.
Yeah. Shout out to Ex Nihilo. They made a beautiful fragrance, which I already bought a full bottle, as you all know. All right. Did a full, well, I need to do a review on it, but beautiful fragrance. But I love this Afnan version because it gives a little more citrus in there. All right. It's not as sweet. It does have some powdery nature to it, but it is a citrusy version of Blue Talisman, in my honest opinion. I like it. It wears strong. It wears long enough. And honestly, it smells good. I've gotten a couple of compliments when I wore it to work. It's a good smelling fragrance.
It gets the job done.
Yeah. And you know what? Let me not say too much, but when I get compliments, they only tell me I smell good. They don't come to me and say, oh, that quality is amazing. They just say, James, what you wearing? Man, that shit smells good. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna go ahead and start off today like that. All right. We're gonna go ahead and start. And y'all lucky, even though this is sips and sniffs, you're lucky I ain't sipping right now. But you know what? I might have to go ahead and pull the avatar up and take a shot a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and loosen up. All right. But just keep it real. Hey, Walt, you know, I reached out to you. We had some long conversations, as I do with so many people the first time I talked to people in the community.
Right.
But Walt, let's talk about it, man. Look, recently, one of my favorite reviewers, because I like the way he delivers, I like the way he talks about things. Justin Copeland did a video. Shout out to him because it was a really good video. As he put it, was subjectively objective and whatnot. And you know, I listened to it, but I ain't take notes like that. I just heard some points, very good points in there. I think it was being honest from his side. But let's be honest, even in his honesty, there was plenty of objectivity. All right.
Facts.
And we're gonna get into it. All right. Now, I'm not gonna play the video. All right. I'm not going to tear his video apart. All right. I think his video was very good. I think it had strong points. I liked what he had to say. But at the same time, my brother, there was a lot of stuff that he failed or he chose not to address. Hey, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's his platform.
Yeah.
And with his platform, he can discuss things how he wants to, discuss what he wants to, and go from there. And regardless, I think it was an excellent video. I give him praise for what he said and his takes. But I have my own opinions, as do you. And we're going to go ahead and discuss them today. Now, have you watched it, Walt?
Yeah, I did. I watched it and sent it to like 10 people.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your take?
My blood pressure was high. And my blood pressure was high not because and we've had this conversation about removing emotions. And so, you know, there are a lot of people on the internet, they feel like if you get upset or you get emotional about something, it's like, well, what you really trying to hide? Like, no. My blood, it kind of upset me because I'm like, why? Like, what was the intent? What was the motivation? Considering who you are, you really don't have to do this. And it's not that I'm trying to tell another man or another human being what they should or shouldn't do, but the points he was trying to make, like, went against him. And so it's like, I was confused, like, why did you do this? And I'm shocked he left it up because I thought maybe he would have took it down. But I think the comment section, which I didn't go in, some of the people that watched it, they let me know what was in there. It was like, okay, you kind of feel validated by the comment section to a degree because you got a lot of support there. So that's probably why he left it up. But I didn't understand what the point was. And it was like the first, like, because I think it was like 15 minutes. And I'm like, you went on this data-driven soliloquy, which if I walked away from that, not being who I am, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to buy more clones. I just felt like what he aimed to do fell flat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and start this because I'll get your take. I'll definitely have my take and whatnot. But I mean, just like I started to say, I'll elaborate on mine afterwards. But tell me what was it that you thought he was angling to do? You know, what was his angle? What did you see him doing? I guess that would be the question.
Well, to me, it was kind of, I felt like he was trying to discredit Middle Eastern companies or who we refer to as clone companies. It's funny because I've been in a couple chats or I've been live before and I'd be like, bro, if we're going to keep it a buck, like Latifah is niche. You know what I'm saying? And so he was trying to discredit, you know, we call them clone company, but these fragrance companies, because he feel like he's so smart. And sometimes you can be too smart for your own good because he used the word outright dupes. I paid attention to that. I'm like, yeah, you said a lot, but I'm like, why did you have to say outright dupe? Because it gives you kind of this escape. You know, it gives you this get out of jail free card because it's like, oh, well, y'all are doing outright dupes. And then these other companies, yeah, you know, they're doing their own thing, but it's not like an outright dupe. And so my thing was, I'm like, are you trying to discredit Middle Eastern companies? Did anybody even ask you that question? Number two. Number three, are you trying to separate yourself? And we can go there because we hinted at this a little bit, so I don't want to go there too early. Has this turned into an issue of classism and race?
Okay.
Because I'm like, you're being very intentional about the words you're using, Justin. And I'm like, but you're really not being clear. You came to the table with data and you left with more confusion and more mess. So yeah, that was, I questioned what was the intent, what was the motive, what were you trying to accomplish?
Well, I definitely agree with what you had to say. It was similar take. Now, I didn't necessarily throw race in there, even though maybe culture.
Yeah, let's say culture. I don't want anybody to accuse me of race baiting, but it's like, but definitely this culture classism thing, you know, because usually this conversation is built around, well, get your money up. And it's like, this ain't got nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, and what I will say to that is that I definitely agree with you. All right, but I would, you know, Justin is very intelligent, or at least he speaks eloquently, and I believe that has to do with his education level. You know,
Mhm.
and the way he puts words together are very purposeful. I think we all do.
Right.
And one thing, no matter, even though I am a math major, all right, even though I taught math on a high level, secondary, algebra, physics, all that, I know words mean something and I know numbers mean something. So
Big time.
trust me. When I heard the word dupe, I was a bit offended because then he used the dupe, he used the word dupe to point out Middle Easterns, to identify Middle Easterns and doers. You know, dua, I mean, do it, dua, I mean, hell, do
Yeah.
I mean, dua stands for do a dupe. All right. I mean, do a dupe, do a combo, do a dupe. You know what I'm saying? But that's their goal. But at the same time, I look at it, Walt, and I say, what's to make this? And let me keep it real because he put in there. He tried to say that there's a difference between dupe and a luxury inspiration. Well, let me ask you this. Yeah, you know, we're gonna go there. We're gonna take some of his
Yeah.
words,
Like,
and this is not to say he's wrong, but
right.
this is to say my thoughts on his opinion. And let me clarify this, y'all, by saying this: everybody is entitled to their own opinion.
Facts.
Thing is that when you put it on the internet, when you put it on the internet, you leave it open to be scrutinized or discussed or disagreed about with
Absolutely.
so many other people, and that goes for reviews. That goes for everything. And you know, I know because hell, we've done 3 videos where we got good and horrible feedback from the chat, you
Right.
know,
Right.
about what we thought was overhyped, about our
Right.
worst lies and everything else. So I'm not allergic to it.
Right.
But let me say this, all right. There are some houses that I do have respect for because they do find a way to come up with their with original products or more original. You know, I think there's only so many ways right now that people have found to make certain accords and blends. And aside from certain houses such as Day 3 that base theirs on a certain
Mhm.
cultural aspect of fragrance, um, Zerjoff, which is based on a certain cultural aspect of
Mhm.
fragrance, Amouage, we got other indie niches such as Savoir Faire. You've got the Elemental and whatnot. You've
Mhm.
got people that are solely out there trying to find different combinations of notes and accords to basically smell different, to be a different brand other than the normal status quo that's coming out by so many niche and designer brands. All right. But here's my thing. Dupe means is a short for duplicate. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's go to the definition. Well, duplicate. Exactly like something else, especially through having been copied. Okay. Technically, it's something that has two corresponding or identical parts.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, everybody, you know, the one thing that upsets me, and this is not a slight to any reviewer out there that does this, but I truly get annoyed at people who say some of these dupes are 1-to-1
Agreed.
because even when you look at the note list that they provide, whether you believe it or not, most of the Middle Eastern renditions, because you know that's my favorite word for them,
Mhm.
most of the Middle Eastern renditions usually have a different mid to dry down.
Right.
Okay, they may open up the same, they may have the same base in a lot of cases, but the dry down typically differs because they always put a spicy twist in there, some way,
Mhm.
somehow.
Right.
They add a cultural difference in there. And most of the ones I've smelled, now I've been away for the most part, but recently, over these past weeks, 2 weeks, I've been smelling a lot at this wholesale place. And brother, when I tell you that they are out there and they are not a 1-to-1 because I own a lot of these things, designer and whatnot, that they supposedly are duplicating, and they are not dupes. They are truly renditions. Now, like I said, I have a problem with the men that go out there and they review this stuff as one-to-ones, because the truth of the matter is, I don't see them as one-to-ones. Are they close? Yeah. But do they differ? Yes. So now, once I get past that, which you express, now we go to the rendition thing, or the statement he made about luxury. What makes these not luxury?
That's a real luxury is just like luxury is a myth. It's BS. And I see a couple of people in the chat, and this is a safe place. You know, everybody's entitled to their opinion and we respect it.
Yes, sir.
Luxury has been proven to be a myth over and over and over again. Luxury is the sum total of perception and delusion. That's all it is, because it's subjective. Like, one of my favorite quotes is from I can't remember it exactly, but it's from one of the Jurassic Park movies. But and it may be something else, but it's talking about monsters and the term, but and how they are relative. We think luxury is ex nihilo, Creed, you know, all of these different brands. And this is why I say, because some people don't want to have this conversation because it requires a different level. And I'm not challenging anybody's intellect, but it requires you to remove emotion. And that's what I think he wanted to do. But he was emotional in his objectivity, because, like I said, it fell flat. Now, some people in the chat say it didn't. I'm going to tell you why it did, because these are the things that we consider luxury because we're at this level. But to somebody that's living in a third world country, like, Curve might be considered luxury. Like, in these places, Latafa is considered luxury. Our moth is considered luxury. So this is why I say we have to be careful. I talked about this on my live Sunday. Creating content, being a content creator, is an act of service. When you are a servant and you are serving your community, fair or unfair, you have to be careful and aware of the things you say, because you're going to be held accountable to that. And like you said, when you put something on video, it becomes subject to either critique in a positive way or a negative way. So when you talk about these luxury brands, that's relative and subjective. But the only reason we know the brands that we consider to be luxury is because some rich person through history said it was luxury. It's as simple as that. You guys, you may not be familiar with it, but I'd go look up the Payless experiment, where they changed the name of Payless to Palessi. They changed the branding, invited all of these high-end influencers and all of this stuff. Oh my God, I would pay $1,000 for these shoes.
Thousands, hundreds of dollars for shoes that cost 30.
Because and people, and Gems, I think I'm new to a lot of your people. So they don't know me and they don't know the things that I talk about. But those of you that know me know, you know, I was a psychology and a sociology major. So I'm like, when it comes to people, and I'm also a Virgo. So when it comes to understanding how people think, we can have that conversation, but it's all about human buying behavior and the psychology of how people make the decisions that they make. And because people can be, with all due respect, people can be fickle and feeble in their understanding of things, because we always want more. We desire because of the things that we are exposed to. Yes. You don't know you want a thing until you see somebody that you aspire to be or that you admire say, you have to have this. Now everything becomes impulsive. Now, mentally, psychologically, I have put a gap between me and you, because now I identify that as quote unquote luxury. No, luxury is waking up, having a roof over your head, being able to put shoes on your feet, and having food and water to drink.
Hold on, Walt. Hold on. Because you're going down that path and we're not there yet. All right. because we
I
got to
know.
touch back on dupes.
The chat
We got
did
to
it.
touch back on dupes, but I just
The
wanted
chat
to
did it.
touch on the luxury part. I got you. I got you. But you did say something that was good. Who determines luxury? All right.
You.
Who determines luxury? You know, there's one
Me?
thing that I like that EQ said, and I can't quote him for the world. I keep asking him in his chats when I do go in there, because I'm not there every time. But when I do go in there, I keep asking him, hey, what was it that you said about value and worth or whatever? And the truth of the matter is, who determines luxury? Because you mentioned earlier, Latafa is luxury to somebody else, right?
Right. It's subjective.
It's subjective. But here's the thing. This is where subjectivity goes out the door, because as a reviewer, when you start speaking on it, you start giving your own opinion, you say you're subjectively doing it, but the viewers don't become, they become objective. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They become less subjective because you are influencing you're influencing them. I mean, let's just be honest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When it's subjective, it's because that's how you feel. But when it's objective, it's because of somebody else's feeling that you feel this way.
And because to your point, and I know you got Tate's comment up there, and I'm like, Tate, I'm with you, but that's not what the video was. See, if he had left it at art and creativity and talked about theft, you know, if he had took the Mason Francis Kirkjohn, if he had took Francis Kirkjohn route, I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't have a problem. Right. But there's another comment that Tate made where he's saying, you know, I'm standing on the sentiment that luxury isn't real, and he's talking about quality. Luxury and quality are not the same thing.
They're not. They're
and
not.
The problem, we keep thinking luxury or high price equates to quality, and you use a Camry versus an S-Class when you can ask, what's my man that owned, what's the old rich man that just retired, the old wealthy rich? Oh my God, he drove a Camry for years. Like, again, I'm a back up, but that's part of the, and I'm not talking about you, Tate. I'm just saying in general. The problem is that we have been convinced and programmed. That's the key word. Programmed to believe that luxury and quality go hand in hand. And China has proven that is a complete lie.
Utter lie. And let me touch on this as well, my friend. All right. Here's the thing. All right. Tate, he says his intentions were to point out how he doesn't respect clone companies sitting back watching, copying entire profiles for profit. He's in the art/creativity side of the industry. Inspiration is okay. I would dare say,
take the word clone out before you say companies.
And let's just do this. You know, his take on Spirit of Kings, right? He was impressed with them. Why? Because he said that they had a good quality to them, right? Me and Jason did a review over Spirit of Kings. And although the brand does come out with some good fragrances, hey, one thing that we noticed, Walt, was that the guy, the perfumer who made them, made a lot of the damn clones, made a lot of the damn colognes that they were resembling. Okay. So tell me this. Which one is more of a dupe? And this is to your opinion. Nobody else's. This is to your opinion. But who's a bigger duper? The company that goes and buys a perfumer or pays a perfumer to come up with an exact, almost replica of another cologne that he already had and put his juice in their bottle? Or a company that goes out there and says, you know what, we're going to try and make something similar with a little twist at the end, and we're going to try and hit as close as we can, but we're not going to make it a one-for-one, because let's be honest, they knew and they know that they'll lose some credit from it. Now, doing those, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Middle East. All right. Dua will tell you they set out to get it as close as possible. They ain't trying to do no inspirations unless they're combining something. Okay. In most cases, that's how I feel, because I bought a few and they try. You know what I'm saying? Right. But even if they weren't, who's to say that their any less of a rendition than Spirit of Kings or anybody else that came out with the same accords and notes similar to something else. To me, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to a statement before we talk about some other things. At the end of the day, your opinion is your opinion. All right. We are here to be, we're here to give our own opinion. All right. To not necessarily sway anybody anywhere, but to give them the truth based on our thoughts and allow it to be just what it is. You know what I'm saying? We go in, we like something. If you don't want to review it, you don't have to review it. But it just seems nowadays that there's a whole lot of people stepping on other brands and other styles of perfumery to build up, to lift up themselves or other brands.
Right. That's why I said I didn't understand the motive. I was like, why this? Now he presented it as a lot of people ask him. You know, take that with a grain of salt. Maybe he's telling the truth, maybe he's not. But I'm like, why are you talking about this? Not saying you don't have the right to talk about it, but if you don't rock with it, okay, cool. Like you ain't got to rock with it.
You know what you can do? I had a live one time where I addressed how there are always going to be people that ask you stuff. Don't mean you got to answer. You know what? I taught high school kids. You know how many questions I got after every 2 statements, whether it was because they forgot or because they had a question or an opinion. I told them same thing. He could tell. He didn't even have to tell them. He could do with it. I tell them, hey, I tell you what, that's a good. Everybody in class, write down your question on a piece of paper. Okay, write it down. When you get finished, I want you to fold it once, fold it twice, fold it a 3rd time. I want you to walk up to the front and put it in my opinion box. All right. They folded it 3 times, Walt. Several of them got up and they looked around. They were like, Coach James, where's your opinion box? You know what I did, Walt? I pointed in the corner where the trash can was and tell them to drop it off, all right? Because at the end of the day, I'm the goddamn teacher. Okay, pause. All right, excuse the language, but I'm the damn teacher. You're the student. You can have whatever opinion you want, all right? But if I say do this, if I say this is my opinion and whatnot, I don't mind you putting it in the comments. Tell me that you disagree. I'm cool with it. Tell me that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, my thoughts are my thoughts.
Right.
And as a teacher, your thoughts are your thoughts. But damn it, if the homework assignment says do 1 through 5, you come up here and you say 1 through 3, you're failing.
Right.
All right. At the end of the day, when I give my review and I tell you what I think, if you disagree, let me know. I'm curious. I love the banter. I love it. But if you think I'm gonna change my mind, not unless it changes my mind. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? You just keep it real. And doing so, like I said, man, the thing that people need to talk about is the fact that why is this being so pushed heavily on the Middle Eastern fragrances?
Right. Like, that's why I brought up the whole, you know, and that make people be like, I see somebody earlier said I plead the 5th. I understand. Like a lot of people don't want to have this conversation because again, you got to peel back the layers. Why is there? Go ahead.
But I'm sorry. But here's the thing: we're not saying anything to shoot at any other brand. And shout out to Ralph, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Zerjov, shout out to everybody. Shout out to Spirit of Kings. The thing about it is that you do what you do from a business standpoint. You do what you do to make money. You are a business, okay? So if that is how you run your business, that's how you think you're going to be successful, then so be it, because Spirit of Kings is bought by several. As a matter of fact, EQ shouted out to them, I think last week on one of theirs, and he even said that they duped a couple of Rosians. You know what I'm saying? The perfumer went over there and created 2 fragrances, maybe 3 that smelled just like old roses. I think it was the same perfumer or whatnot. I can't remember. You know, I pop in and out of EQ's because he has great content, but you know, sometimes I just, you know, I'm busy or I can't. You know what I'm saying? But bro, they make great perfume, but we're not gonna play like they're not dupes. We're not going to play stupid. All right. And you could talk about, you know what I'm saying? You could talk about everything in the world, the quality and whatnot. At the end of the day, they're dupes too. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you have your preference of dupes, then that's fine. But whether you want to call them a luxury dupe, low end dupe, middle class dupe, it's a dupe.
And there you go. That whatever you call it, you know, it can cost $30, it can cost $80, or it can cost $250, $300, whatever. I'm like, dupe is at the end of the day.
And let me address this before we move on to the next. Look,
see, that's not what I said. Reading and listening is fundamental. No disrespect, but y'all funny. That's the thing about social media. People hear through emotions, because at no point did I say quality is subjective. That quality isn't a thing, but it's okay, Lions Pride.
But here's the thing. This is what we were going to get into anyway. So companies start somewhere. All right. Now there are some companies that start off with a big purse to start off with. You know what I'm saying? And they build their fragrances up, and next thing you know, boom. They made 5, they were okay. You made 10, they were good. And then all of a sudden, boom, they've got backing. They've got financial backing. They've got investors and whatnot. Now they're top of the line. You want to know who did really good with that? And actually, to be honest with you, they were always good. But you know who is benefiting now from finally getting financial backing and whatnot? And now more and more people are talking about them. Day 3. Day 3. Started off with La Tacita de Cafe, beautiful coffee fragrance, love it. All right, you look at it, Walt. They won a few awards, got a little backing, and now they're able to do great things. Now, is Michael over there creating original fragrances? Yes. All right, but the thing that I'm talking about is the fact that some people come in here with a head start, and some people have to build up. All right. Now, I'm not saying that these Middle Easterns and whatnot are owned by broke people or startup companies or whatnot, but what I had from Lattafa and some of these companies last year, and actually, honest with you, from 2 or 3 years ago,
it's
completely different from what they're coming out with now.
Totally.
From what I have from Afnan from 3 years ago, smells of a different quality now than what it was back then.
Which is saying a lot, considering how good, you know, Afnan has always been. So yeah, that's saying a whole lot.
And here's the thing. I'm not saying that quality doesn't matter, but quality for some companies is built up over time. Because as we know, you get a quality perfumer, which a lot of these Middle Easterns are paying for now. All right. You get quality oils, which comes with sometimes with investment or more money coming into the bank. You can purchase higher quality oils, and a number of things play into it. You know what I'm saying? But my thing about it is this. All right. If you're not feeling it, don't talk about it.
Yeah, I would stay. You know, if you can't swim in 10 feet of water, why are you going over there? And again, when you say stuff like that, people be like, "That sounds crazy." I'm like, no, like it doesn't mean that people aren't entitled to speak about what they want to speak about. We're saying it sets. I'm like I talked about the Chanel pricing set a bad precedent, because we have gotten so far beyond just the fragrance itself. When you start looking at the business and the industry, so when you look at who Justin is and who Justin represents, you know what I'm saying? When certain people say certain things, it moves the needle. So again, I respect, like, take what you were saying. I'm all for artistic creativity. We can talk about that to the end of the day. I wish that had been the conversation. And to me, it could have been more polished. It could have been presented a different way. If he honestly, truly said, I'm going to make content about this, let me not try to say, because it's like it went from why I don't, really rock with these companies to like this whole data-driven presentation of like
why you shouldn't.
Like, so bro, like, what's up? Because that's why I'm saying I don't understand the angle which I question, where I'm like, nah, and I hate to say, because again, people don't we get emotional, but I just want, I would love to be like, Justin, in full transparency. Like, why? Like, what was the point? I ain't saying you don't have a right to talk about it, but what's the point? Because like, you can talk about what you want to talk about. And again, most of the times with reviewers, we talk about what we like. You guys know, people that know me, I always tell you all, there is a difference between you just being the enthusiast and the hobbyist and the collector versus being on the other side of this camera. And sometimes the chat doesn't understand that, which is why they don't get on this side of the camera. See, it's easy to be a Twitter thug, no pun intended, no disrespect. When I say Twitter thug, I'm talking about the people that sit in the basement.
It is what it is.
But people love to be gangster behind a keyboard. And so I encourage people all the time. I'd be like, so I would love to see your take. I would love to hear you on a podcast. I would love to. And it's not that your take is not respected when it's written. You have to really settle yourself to be able to present and articulate how you feel clearly when you get on this side of the camera, and you just can't reach. You know what I'm saying? Now you can try to. You can have the Jordan versus LeBron conversation. You can do that. Or we can just say, what you got against Jordan, or what you got against LeBron? What do you have? Why are you so hell bent on this? Because my thing is, I'm like, yo, there will be no niche slander, no designer slander, no clone slander. Like what you like, love what you love. If you like it, you like it. If it smell good, it smell good. But I'm not gonna go on this parade of being like, man, I ain't rocking with this company because of boom, 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 boom. And this is boom, 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 and present all of these facts. I'm like, well, who hurt your feelings? Like, what happened? So I'm like, did somebody say something to you?
Well, here's the thing. And we're still, and here's the thing, y'all. We're not taking away. We're not calling them a liar. We're not. We're just, the question is, why? Because y'all are way too smart in most cases. I'm not saying anything about him, but I am making statements here. All right. Anytime someone comes here to the camera, they have an objection. They are objective. Let's be honest. They have a purpose for why they get behind the camera. You can see it in the title. You can hear it in their arguments, their statements, their stances. So, the thing about it is, like Fatboy said, you started off talking about why you don't, which you got to respect it. Right. Unless you just, you got to respect the man's opinion, right?
Thanks.
But like we said, eventually it went less from his formulated opinion to a formulated kind of plea for why you should not.
Yeah.
And, just like that was his opinion, this is my opinion on it. And here's the thing. I don't have a problem with it. If he puts out another one, it's cool. But here's the thing. Like we said, if there's a bias to it for whatever reason, then come out and say it. Because here's the thing. Let me look at subjectivity, the quality of being based on or influenced by personal feelings, tastes, or opinions, right? All right. Let me read this one. Objectivity. All right. The quality of being objective, or the quality of, well, actually it just says the quality of being objective. And we know what objective is. All right. When you look at something and you're objective to it, you have something against it.
Right. I would love, it would be dope if we could like take live phone calls, because all world, I would love to know what your definition of fake is. Because fake is, I'm gonna just grab my center today. This is a bottle. I don't purchase anything retail, but this I got from maybe Fragrance Net or something like that. Because they was the only one that had it at the time I was looking for it. If a company comes out with a fragrance that's inspired by this, or that's a twist on this, that's not fake. If an eBay seller puts up a picture of this and you get the bottle and the texture of the K is a little bit different, the crown on the cap is a little bit different color, the height of the packaging is different. Like, y'all have bought fakes before, right? Like, you've actually bought a fake.
I'm glad you touched on it. Go ahead.
Like those, I got a fake bottle of, I got a fake of Al Haramain's Amber Oud, the Aqua Dubai. The packaging, everything, that's fake. So we have to stop the rhetoric again of because when you become accountable, you become aware. And what happens is nobody holds us accountable for the things that we say. Like some of you are challenging what we're saying in the chat because you're holding me accountable. So you want to make sure I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. It's like, no, Walt, you got to make this make sense. I'm all for that. That creates conversation. It creates diversity. And that's what community is built on. That's why we have FragCom. Beautiful thing. We're not all supposed to agree. But there is certain rhetoric and narratives that respectfully, all world, we got to stop, because this whole thing about fake shoes and jewelry got what is a fake? No, people got like Tim's, you know, when they came out with TIMS, you know what I'm saying? Like Timberlands, and it was like if you want to holler at Fragrance World and what they used to do, or Paris Corner, what they used to do, like the whole Tom Ford issue.
Yes.
Yeah, like
that was Mason Alhambra. Well, actually, Fragrance World too. Yeah.
That's slander. Like that's absolutely slap on the wrist. Obvious. Come on, bro, because you are literally almost trying to deceive people to where it's like I got a bottle, a clone of somebody that did Oud Maracuja, from the packaging to the bottle, like Thomas Cosmala #4, like Raymond Bazaar, whatever his name is. I'm like, yeah, you got to get a slap on the wrist. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you're trying to deceive people. But me being inspired, you know, because right now you talking about faking the funk. Okay, bro, like every shoe company is fake. If that's the case right now, because tell me who coming out with shoes like between Adidas, between Nike, between Reebok, who's doing something that's original and that looks different? So why don't I get to call out the big dogs for doing it? Why am I so focused on this little person over here? And Latasha is by no means little, but why do I get to keep picking on this little person while these luxury companies and these elitist people get to keep doing it and nobody says anything?
Nobody says anything. And here's the other thing. Let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. Coming from because it was heavy in our culture, all right? And by our culture, I mean the Black culture, all right? We have plenty of people that bought Wookiees. I bought a couple of Wookiees. But here's the thing. There's a reason why we bought Wookiees, and there's a reason why you buy Middle Eastern colognes that may be renditions of other fragrances. Here's the thing. They have two different conclusions, all right? When I buy some J's, my whole point in buying some fake J's, some Wookiees, whatever you want to call them, all right, is to do what, Walt? It's intentionally to portray as if I have the originals, right?
Put on, yeah.
But when I buy a rendition of a cologne, what is my main goal?
It depends on who you're asking.
Well, yeah, for most people, and I mean 98% of them, the one goal mainly is to smell good.
Smell good.
Or to come close to a scent that I appreciate. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. And sometimes, you know, people want to smell like YSL. Why? Can't afford it. So what do? They go in there and they get one that smells close to it. Now, these things are never a 1-for-1. We're going to keep reiterating that, all right? They are not a 1-for-1. But do they come close? Yes. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, you want to smell that way because you believe that smells good, correct?
Facts.
So when you spray that on and you're getting compliments, or maybe you don't get compliments, but you're not getting criticized or whatnot, ain't nobody running around clowning you outside of YouTube. Let's be honest, outside of YouTube, ain't nobody running around clowning anybody on whether or not they got their cologne from wholesale perfumes, or whether they went to dealers, or whether they went to Neiman Marcus or Saks or whatever. Most people ain't even going to ask typically where you got it from. A lot of the times, the conversation is going to evolve around, you smell good. What is that? And a lot of people stop right there.
Right. You see my shirt, right? It says only Fragcom cares, because honestly, I'm like, and people won't be honest in the real, like every so often you will have a conversation with a person like, oh my God, like, what are you wearing? Like, that smells great. Like, where did you get that from? You know, but you may not even have the time to go that deep in the conversation, this, that, and the third. You just simply tell them. Now, that's why I said it depends on who you ask, because some people will be out here wearing liquid broom and be like, oh my God, what is that? Oh, that's Parfums de Marley Altair. And then they'd be like, oh my God, you got money. You see what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I got on liquid broom. Like, it is like, matter of fact, because I'm like, yo, and then depending on who it, and I hate to say this because we get into this perception thing, most of the time people will let you know where they stand as far as these flyby conversations, especially when it comes to affordability. Because it's like, would it be like, ooh, that's expensive? That presents me with the opportunity to be like, well, shoot, I'm well versed on the topic. So it's like, hey, if I understand that's pricey, check this out over here. It's going to get the job done. It's not 100% the same, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to disrespect you. I know in my brain, I'm like, to your nose, you're not going to really be able to tell the difference. But it's like, hey, this is going to suit you. I'm not questioning their credit score. I'm not questioning how much money they got in the bank. I don't care nothing about that, because they have one goal. They just want to smell good. And they smelled me wearing something that made them be like, oh my God, that smells good. I want to get that from a husband, brother, son, this, that, and the third.
But Walt, let me ask you this. How many times have you referred someone to a Clive Christian or whatnot, and they ask you, how much does it cost?
Bro,
tell them that Clive Christian costs.
Yeah, you already know that.
Either be on discounter or regular price. What's the next reaction of them, of a lot of people?
Yeah, you tripping.
Keep that shit.
And that's the thing. That's why I say it's relative to your environment, because I have cousins and stuff that I'll be like, I already know that the things that they wear, they're of a certain, you know what I'm saying, ilk. So it's like, yo, go check this out. Go check that out. Go check that out. And people think there's an issue with that. But I was like, have y'all never worked real jobs with real people where you have to influence people to make decisions? I'm not being funny when I say that. Those are legit questions, because I'm like, when you work in sales, especially if you work at dealerships or different, there are certain training or certain things you get throughout life where people teach you. I started off by saying, bro, I was a psychology and a sociology major, and I'm a Virgo. I got it honest. I read people for hobbies. I people watch for downtime. When I need to go blow off some steam, I literally go people watch. I dissect people. That's why y'all don't this is why I approach YouTube the way that I do, because I'm always trying to understand the mind of a person, why they do what they do, why they make the decisions that they make, because that's going to help me be a better creator, because I know how to meet them where they are. And depending on where they are, I might tell them, hey, you should go smell Clive Christian. Or I might tell them, hey, this F9 throughout the electric, hey, it's electric. It's going to get you right. You know what I'm saying? It's just, but we get up in arms when it's like, yeah, but you know, it's clones, man, you know.
But
yeah,
and let me say this. Let me say this. I'm sorry, Walt, to cut you off, but you keep using the word clone. But here's the other thing. You know, like you said earlier, Mason Alhambra really effed up things. Fragrance World really effed up things with that Tom Ford, because you know what? I felt it was right to call those a clone, because it was from the bottle,
literally,
to the juice, to the box. I mean, and I get it. You know, that was a slap in the face, like you said. It was a slap in the face. They deserved a slap on the ass. You know what I mean?
Like he said, there's no creativity. Absolutely, I agree.
And so I'm with you on that. Let me turn this back around. But at what point do we not just take it into consideration that, okay, those were clones, they're not doing that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All right. At what point, when do we accept the fact that nowadays clones are a negative word used to describe mainly Middle Eastern fragrances? Ooh.
Yeah, I'm about to say you had a light go out, didn't you?
Yeah, well, man, it'd be like that sometimes over here.
I mean, we can still clearly see you, but I just
let me make an adjustment for that. But we have to accept the fact that clone has a negative connotation to it. So even simply the use of the word clone in a lot of conversations is somewhat strategic because, like someone said in the chat, you know, there are only a few people that will refer to Boudicca as a clone house.
Those that
Do you think that's strategic?
Right. It's always strategic.
All right. So why don't people talk about that? Because I tell you what, people charging me 10 times the price for a clone would piss me off more than someone trying to sell me 3 times less for a clone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Which is what it boils down to, bro, which is why I question people. I'm an entrepreneur and I ain't talking about YouTube. I'm talking about like when you know, I have people who are business owners who have created things. And so when you understand the value of a thing, because that's what it really comes down to, which is why people were kind of and it wasn't nothing new. It was just, you know, people were all up in arms, you know, when TikTok was going around and the people from China was talking about, well, actually, like we make them bags, like LV don't make that stuff. But again, and people don't like to hear that because this, I'm gonna just use the word, this elitism complex that we have in this obsession with luxury and being something for other people. And I'm like, some people, you just want to be that for yourself. That's cool. I'm not mad at it. But don't sit here and tell me or try to tell me that I'm wrong because you're paying 10 times the cost to make that product just because this person says this is what it costs. Because it all comes down, like, you're the slave, not me. I'm good. I'm like, because if you're telling me that imagination costs $20 to make, and it's probably less than that, but let's just say if imagination costs $20 to make, and let's just say Mara, Prestige or whatever, costs $15 to make, who the slave?
Slave.
So that's what it all, but like what makes it, and y'all please don't come to me with these quality things, because we are at a point now, and I'm gonna shut up, James. We are at a point now where if you talk to actual perfumers and you talk to people who are in the industry and people who are actually creating products, the playing field has really been leveled. There are very few people who have a chokehold on ingredients and the exclusivity that used to exist.
Now that last part I agree with. Now, I will say this, Walter. We talked about this. You know, the playing field for some is level, but here's the thing. The oils, more people are purchasing the higher quality oils. Right. All right. But even though this truly is subjective because it depends on how it's received on your skin. Okay.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I got so many renditions and originals over here. Right. There are some that are damn close.
Right.
But then there are some that are just like, okay, that's a good blend. It's better than the one that you had 3 years ago.
Facts.
But it's not Clive Christian.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like this right here, it's good, y'all.
But it's not Blue Talisman. Yeah.
No way in hell. All right. Now, why do I like this? Why do I use this more? Because of the citrus aspect. But you ain't gonna get me up here and say that, hey, this is of the same quality on skin, not on my skin.
Right.
Now, and that's why I kind of play off of that, because it's kind of one of those things where quality is definitely fuck the subjectivity. It's based on your individual opinion. All right, because it also has to do with a lot of stuff with skin chemistry. How well do you take care of yourself and everything else? Because that's going to control how it comes off as well. But in the end of the day, I mean, most of us are going to get majority of our view from either us or somebody else.
Yeah, people are impressionable from birth. And
so when we talk about quality, I can tell you what I feel, but at the end of the day, that's why I feel. That's why I'm not going to talk to him on the part of whether or not it's a higher quality. If you feel it's a higher quality, that's fine. But and you know what's funny? Outside of Neeb and a couple of others, when we go to people, a lot of people don't see the videos, but there are videos talking about how more and more people are purchasing oils from the higher refineries and whatnot, from the higher levels at the companies. It's a known fact. They talk about it. But maybe you have to watch the videos. Maybe you have to get on skin and whatnot. But
it's becoming more equitable.
Right.
Access. People are getting more access now. Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you this: with the dupes, you can tell that the oil is better. But here's the thing: there's a few of them where you can tell that the blending is, and I think it's because several of the ones that have better blends, which is the difference maker for me, are actually hiring real, or should I say, I don't want to say real, master perfumers to come up with these fragrances. Now, here's my thing. I'm going to keep going back to this. Because at the end of the day, it's all based on your opinion. I don't like the word subjective because a lot of people use that as a cop-out. I don't care. All right. Call it what you will. I think people use it as a cop-out to defend anything being said right now. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like back in the day. Nowadays, they use the words, it's subjective, right? But back in the day, what would they say? Prove it. Prove my opinion is wrong. And you know what? You have to be an insane person to try and prove that their opinion is wrong. So I don't even go there. You know what I'm saying?
Rich Money. I said that last week. That's funny.
You know what he say?
He said people hiding clones like they hit them bigger. I literally said that last week. They get on camera and they be like, I hate clones. And she be sitting back there in the bed, be like, baby, I'm sorry. You know, I just had to say that for the audience, you know.
You know I love you, girl. You know, but hey, we're gonna go out together next week, all right? Not this week. This week, next week. I'm gonna take you where you want to go. Yeah. But yeah. All right. But man, look, at the end of the day, subjectivity is subjectivity. You can claim it or you can't. Don't mean I got to believe it, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to argue it. But we're going to argue the facts around it. Now, hey, real quick, let's get into another topic about it. But this is not something that Justin touched on. The last couple of these are not something that Justin touched on. These are just topics around the discussion point that so many people have been having prior to this. You know what I'm saying? But there was a mention of, is there truly much artistic integrity even in a larger niche and designer brands? I got to ask real quick, couple minutes. Tell me, what's your thought on that? What is your thought on whether or not there's a lot of artistic integrity, even in the larger niche and designer brands?
I think the way we use the word artistic integrity now equates to who's first. I think the way artistic integrity was used years ago was about the honest creativity and the origination of something. Now it's about who gets to it first. And if I get to it first, I'm the originator. So that makes me artistic and that makes me integral. Because everybody, like business, if you want to be successful in business, nobody is reinventing the wheel. The wheel was a success. So you don't reinvent the wheel. You just put your own spoke in it. Like,
true.
So whether it's quote unquote clone companies,
music Music, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. You know,
Music. Look at Lucky Day and Music Soul Child. Music Soul Child made Love. Or not Love, what was it? Crazy.
half
Lucky Day
crazy.
came out with a song,
Yeah.
just added an extra beat on there and extra and two beautiful songs.
You know, and so yeah, it's a matter of how is you know, in the court of law, they say possession is 9/10 of the law. I tell people in the real world, perception is 9/10 of the law. Big girl gonna do that every time and make you and cook for you, bro. Every single time. Every single time.
leave it to Rock Boy T and Rich Money Cash to keep you laughing.
I'm glad KB said that though, because this is something I told you and I've said 1,000 times. The only reason Latifah, Armaf, Afnan, all these people is getting hate is because Armaf came out with Club de Nuit. I honestly believe, because people have been quote unquote trying to dupe fragrances forever. I mean, since Creed was making, I mean, this is always going on in society, in life. But I think what really, 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 really sparked this thing is when Club de Nuit came out. I think that because it was like, wait a minute, like Aventus. Like, nah, you're not supposed to be able to touch a quote unquote holy grail. And I feel like from there, but people didn't know, like these people had original fragrances. Like all of them have original fragrances. Like they all have their own niche lines. And again, over there, they're looked at as niche. Nobody cared because we weren't exposed to them. We weren't exposed to them until they came out with this version, their version, inspiration, rendition of Aventus. And it got in the hands of a couple people. And the internet went wild, and it was like, oh my God, that's a recipe for success. I'm gonna do the same thing, which is what people have always done. If you're in business, you don't sit back trying to copy what other people do, but you sit back and you say, okay, McDonald's got Big Mac sauce. We know it's really, you know, the core of it, the base of it is like 1,000 Island, you know, but it's like McDonald's kind of cornered that. Now, every restaurant and their mama attempted to do the same thing, but nobody slapped them to be like, so y'all cloning, y'all duping now? Y'all, no, it's like you put your own spin on it because you see this is successful. So let's create our own version and see how it works for our audience. Now, it may not go over like McDonald's did, but that doesn't stop you from doing it. Again, in the business world, nobody cares. Only Fracom cares about this conversation, which is why it's like, again, I would love to ask Justin, if you're watching, maybe this gets to you. I would just love to have a conversation, be like, you know, like, did you like, what was it? Like, if it's just for content, okay, cool. It is what it is. But yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Let me tap in real quick, Walt. Let me tap in on what you're saying. All right. What you say, I agree with. I think there's plenty of truth in there. I'm gonna tell you like this. Let's be honest. This was started by some reviewers, mainly my boy, heavily my boy Neeb, okay? In a plot to give people an idea on what fragrances smelled like. Eventually, it became a habit for people to review and compare.
Right.
Then, of course, as we know, there was always a quality, okay? And to touch on what Lions Pride said, I'm not sure about Walt. I think he was in agreement to some degree, but there is a difference in quality and luxury, all right? Luxury does have a quality difference. But what we were saying is that it's on a scale based on what you are familiar with, okay? For a person who's drove Hyundai all their life, they see a difference in Lexus, okay?
Thanks.
Or a person that's drove Toyota all their life, they see a difference when they drive a Lexus. Lexus is luxury. But for a person that's been driving Lexus all their life, you'd have to go to Range Rover, certain class of Mercedes. to understand the next level of luxury, and et cetera, and et cetera. It's relative. It's not that it doesn't go hand in hand, but that hand in hand is based on where you are when you experience it, or when you project or predict the next level of luxury. Okay? Because hell, someone driving a Hyundai, all right, someone riding a bus thinks Hyundai is luxury. Let's keep it a buck. I mean, when you don't have, or when you're on a certain level, the next level up is always considered luxury to some degree. Okay? So it's based on where you are, where you start, and your experience. But let me move on to this one. So we were talking about the fact that I was saying that it's about what? Damn, how did I forget that quick? Whoa.
I don't know, brother. I'm with you. That kind of just, you know.
It kind of no, but it needed to be said, because I think he was misunderstanding where you were coming from and what I was saying in the midst of this. You know what I'm saying? What up, crew? But basically, touching back on the original question, let's go back. Is there artistic integrity? All right, let's touch on the original part of this. All right, so you were talking about it's a first man up. All right, whoever hits it first, they're the originator and whatnot. And I was talking about the fact that a lot of this stuff came from people doing comparisons.
Yeah,
it was coming within the spectrum of another fragrance. People were saying, "Oh, that's a dupe." But the truth of the matter was, I'll be honest with you. At the time, people have increased their ability to do reviews. Reviews are so much more detailed from where they were 3 years ago. From so many fragrance reviewers, you know what I'm saying, from Ross to Bowtie to everybody. You know what I'm saying. But those who are heavy in the Middle Eastern realm, they have truly increased their ability to do reviews, or at least increase the amount of detail that they put into the reviewing process. Right. And because of that, I'm gonna be honest with you. Before, it was lazy. There were a lot of people that were lazily just comparing them and saying this is a dupe of so and so. Then they started putting numbers up there, which, you know, wherever you want to say, I didn't agree with a lot of them. No, oh, it's 95% for the first hour?
Yeah, for the first hour.
For the first two, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of this dupe stuff outside of the bottles and everything, a lot of this stuff came because in the early stages of Fragcom reviewing Middle Easterns, they were just simply comparing them. It came as a simple comparison. And as we know, after a while, when you compared it to something, it became, oh, that's a dupe. Think about it. Every time, think about it like this. Every time we talk about something with pineapple, how many times you going to hear somebody in the chat or read it and someone say, oh, so it's like a Ventus. Now, they do it less now because we started getting onto, but last year and the year before, hell, every time you say pineapple and apple, oh, that's a Ventus. Yeah. Gotta be a Ventus.
Don't let it have black currant and oak moss in it. Oh, oh
my God, that's absolute. That's absolute. No, I'm sorry. No. Oh, oak moss and pineapple. Oh, that's got to be Hasagan. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, it became a lazy way of reviewing for a lot of people, and I think it became a way of downgrading brands that people were not associating with as luxury brands for whatever reason. All right, you can say it's because of the oil. You can say it's because of the blending and whatnot. And I'm not saying that it's not true, because you've heard me speak on it. It's very true. But it became a negative way of people to compare other fragrances to the more big name brands and whatnot.
Right.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. Could be right, could be wrong, but artistic value never really left. I think people just got lazy in comparing. At one point, people got lazy in comparing the artistic creativity in this fragrance as opposed to that one, because honestly, majority of the Middle Easterns, they're not a one-for-one. I don't care what they say. I don't care what nobody in this realm says. They're not one-for-ones. I don't care if it's at the beginning, the middle, or the end. They're not. You're not going to get an exact. You're going to get something close, but not exact. And so there's still a level of creativity in there that needs to be respected and needs to be talked about, or else you're lazy.
Right.
As a reviewer, you're lazy. Now, there are reasons why certain brands are not, are not, they're not duplicated easily or not duplicated at all in a lot of cases. All right. They've tried. I bought a few. They suck. Okay. I'm watching. I ain't seen too many good ones. Zerja. I ain't seen too many good ones. Of course, our indie niche friends and whatnot. I ain't seen too many good ones.
Yeah.
But
usually things that is usually the linear fragrances, those are the easier ones, to try to replicate. which like to the perfumers, I'm like, and I want to speak on that real quick. I'm like, well, to the companies, I'm like, yo, if you don't want your fragrance to be dupe, make something that's not linear. Make something better, which we see. The one thing I'm kind of excited about is that it has made people go back to the drawing board.
Yes.
To be like, let's bring creativity back, and not we have 10 designers out here that all smell the same. You know what I'm saying? And I think also the clone conversation, the dupe conversation, it goes back to a business conversation. I always have to remind people. It can be overwhelming and oversaturated because you have it's a bunch of houses, but let's just say Latatha is going to come out with their version, Armaf is going to come out with their version, Afnan is going to come out with their version. All right. And then they have sub brands who are going to come out with a version. So it can be like, bro, it's so many clones when it's like, well, really each company is doing the same thing that designer, like all of the different designer brands, all of the different, but it's a negative connotation because of the speed and the rate and the timing that is happening. That just speaks to the technology and where we are. But people get mad at the company. Why doesn't anybody get mad at Quentin Biche?
For selling the same product?
Like, why don't we hold? Because I hear everybody talk, All World, Lions Pride, some of you. I'm like, let's take the companies out of it. Why does nobody hold the perfumer accountable? Because go look at Quentin Biche's profile and everybody that he's worked with. Why don't they catch any flack? Are they for, are they for the streets? Are they for everybody? Or are they just sold to the highest bidder? Do they not have any integrity? You know what I'm saying? Or is it again, only we care? Only Fragcom cares about this.
And let's be honest. It's mostly Fragcom. And let's be even more honest. Let's just keep it real. It's mainly the males in Fragcom. I've been over there with plenty of women.
Yeah, women don't do this, bro.
They throwing Afnan on top of Clyde Christian.
Right. They don't do this.
They throwing the Elemental on top of Givenchy. You know what I'm saying? Or as Dedrick Hicks Jr. says, Givenchy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't give it. If it smells good and it wears good, guess what? It's on skin. Because
they've been wearing quote unquote dupes and they've been doing this forever.
Boy.
When it comes to lotions and spritz and all, I mean, so it's like, but us, this machismo, comes out and it's like, what in the world, man?
But and we've had a couple of people that put in there, what up, Tazo? And we always appreciate. I always appreciate the opinion. The main thing that we're talking about is not whether or not Justin was justified in his opinion, because at the same time he is. I said it from the beginning, and I agreed with quite a bit that he said. But here's the thing: you put it on there. Hey, why can I not give my opinion? You know what I'm saying? If you put it out there, why can I not stress my opinion on some of his thoughts? Some I agree with, some are not. And my guy Tazo in here, this is my little brother, right? C says, it seems to me only the clone guys get bothered with the debate. He hardly ever sees niche guys get upset that clone guys don't buy niche, right? And he said we should just wear and buy what we like. But that's what we're saying.
Right.
That is literally what we're talking about. The fact that there's slander for the clones. That's what we're saying. See, on this platform, when I go live with Jason, you know how Jason is. The Simp Father, he gonna show you what he wears. And Jason wears the we call them luxury niche fragrances. All right, he does, and they smell great, and it's his choice. When I come on here, I got some luxury niche, I got some designers, and I'm probably gonna throw a couple of clones in whatever conversation that we're having. Because why? Because I wear them all. You know what I'm saying? And I don't, I joke around about the Simp Father being bougie, but the Simp Father spends his money on what he spends. The thing is that when you get on here and there's a comparison of the two, and there's a lesser than comparison of one, and a higher and a more value in the other, now we're getting into a different realm where it's almost like we're saying, are we really enjoying it? Are we really talking about what we like? Or are we trying to boost one by downing another? And that's my whole thing. There are, and Tazo should understand, because Tazo came in. Everybody I talk to nowadays, I've got people that follow me from TikTok that send me shout outs and whatnot. And the first thing, at least 10 people have literally hit me up on TikTok where I've gone live, and they've said, "Man, I love Tazo." You know where they remember him from? Game of Spades. Okay. He put so many people on Game of Spades, and as we know, Game of Spades is a what? Is considered a dupe house. So the point of this is to basically, I mean, at the end we were going to get to it, but let's go ahead and look. Yeah. Wear what you wear. All right. Yeah. We all are living a life where we are chasing certain fragrances to smell good, either for others or for yourself. All right. At the end of the day, there is a reason why you are choosing what you buy. All right. And my whole thing is to touch on the fact that you don't need to feel slighted. Don't think that there's any less artistic value in what you buy than from the next one, because in a lot of cases, what you'll find is that the house doesn't make the artistic value. Now, the house may make a difference in the blend, because if they don't spend money on it, you're not going to get it. If they don't spend more money on the oils, you're not going to get the quality. But that's becoming less and less of a problem nowadays with the clones, because they're doing so.
Yeah, just be honest. I think Tazo, the comment that Jims has up right now, but the last sentence, I think, is the whole point. Just wear what you wear, like what you like, buy what you buy. Like when we start having conversations and it's about, like, affordability is a realistic thing. It's like, it is what it is. But sometimes we weaponize it again. And to your point, like you're saying, you never hear the niche guys have an issue with it's like, well, technically that was kind of the underlying tone of Justin's video.
Yeah. And
so it's like, bro, you are Justin Copeland. That's my thing. I come back to that. What was the now? If it was for the sake of content, cool. But what was the point? Because to Tazo's point, we know what you do. We know who you invest your time and your money in. This, that, and the third. So why even bring this up? That's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm minding my business. Now, again, we've had these conversations. We talk about this, and I'm gonna shut up. And then, because I think the goal is, it shouldn't be a debate. Let's end the debate. You're gonna buy what you buy at the end of the day.
But this ain't a debate. Hold on. This ain't a debate. I want you to continue, but this ain't a debate.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that this is not a debate? Let me just say that. Finish your say. But this is not a debate. This is a discussion.
Right. I'm just using, for lack of a better term, because that was the actual verb. That was the word that he said. But as far as the discussion and the conversation, it's like, and I told the boys the other, I said, bro, I'm not talking. I have told y'all on my platform, I ain't talking about this no more. Because for what? Because at the end of the day, you're gonna buy what you want to buy, and you're gonna like what you like. And I'm like, I don't care. That's my thing. I don't understand why people are so emotionally invested in one side or the other. And I think that's the point me and Jims are trying to bring to the forefront tonight. It's like, why are you so invested in trying to disprove the other side? If you rock niche, it's okay. If you rock designer, it's okay. If you rock Middle Easterns, it's okay. But I don't have time to be checking to be like, hey, bro, you lame. No, I'm about to say something. No, you lame. You spend $500 on something and you still whack. So who's the sucker? Like, I mean, who's the slave at the end? Because some people are, you buy what you buy because you want to buy it. But then some of us are buying things because we want to be something that we're really not, because the internet allows you to be this. That's why folks be in the chat. I'm going to say it. Y'all lie depending on who platform you on. They be like, what's your sin of the day? Man, depending on who platform you on, you'll be like, you talk about a $500 fragrance. You got a 2 milliliter sample. And you up here flaunting like, no, bro.
Well, technically it's their sin of the day.
Yeah,
you know
whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
They use all this
You know what I'm talking about, bro. But then you get on such and such channel, and you be like, yeah, bro, I wore liquid broom today. Come on, dog. But again, we program to think, oh, bro, I'm on such and such channel, so I got to come correct. That's my point. Where you feel like you have to not be honest, that you gotta put on, bro. If you can't afford it, okay, you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But if you're not being honest with yourself and you're not keeping it real, you're the sucker. I'm good. I'm straight. I go to sleep at night. I'm not out here trying to buy something that I'm not gonna wear just because I know Joe has it. And so I know the next time Joe shows up on and they talk about sin of the days, yeah, I'm gonna be able to rock with Joe. I'm gonna be able to post something because you know Joe got that stuff. Bro, I like Joe. I love Joe. He just celebrated a birthday. God bless you. I don't give a flying flip about what Joe got going on, this, that, and because that's Joe. What Jim's got, that's cool. I'm straight. And I'm not gonna overextend myself to try to make myself appear bigger than what I really am, which goes back to the point, you know, you got some women that do that, but women for the most part, they don't have this problem. It's all this masculinity we got over here and the need to one up each other where it's like, so I got to keep separating myself. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, so if you want to go there, you know I got him. Look, this right here is a company called. Let's bring it home. Let's make it real. I got a Fifine mic over there that y'all seen me use recently. I got 100 mics around here somewhere. This is a Rode pod mic, a USB pod mic. This mic cost me $200. Do you need a $200 mic to do content? No, you don't. You can go get that mic $30 and this, that, and the third. I got a Rodecaster Duo, a Rodecaster Pro, all of this, that, and what I'm shooting. You don't need all of this. But these are things that I bought because of the level of quote unquote work I was doing. Some things require you to spend money. So it ain't even about the clone, this, that, and the third. It does come down to quality. There are companies who make cheap. This goes back to what I think Lions Pride or whoever was saying earlier. I can speak to this because I'm a techie. I work in IT and I spend tens of thousands of dollars on equipment. Play in your own sandbox. This is one life I live. There are companies who make cheaper products, who have better quality than what I'm using. So quality, luxury, it's not always equal. It's not equal parts. But if you want to talk about a clone, this looked like the old, like they basically bit off the old Blue Yeti style. They just put it's not a 1-for-1, but it's the same inspiration. But I'm not gonna be like Joby, you know, y'all out here cloning people. It's stupid because you buy what you're exposed to.
Well, and let's be honest, quality is determined two ways when it comes to fragrances. All right. You got the quality based on your thoughts, your personal opinions, because when you spray it on, you come up with your own opinion on how good it is, right? And then for those who walk a certain way, walk in a certain area, whatnot, quality is also based on what other people get from it. You know what I'm saying? From those who give compliments, from those who smell you. You know what I'm saying? It's a double-edged sword. I believe so. Because I mean, how many times do you buy something and part of you doesn't want compliments from it?
Right.
How many times do you buy a fragrance and not think, you know what I'm saying? Oh, this one smells good. I know they're gonna like this. Hell, most of us, let's keep it a buck. In our community, Taz too. How many times did you spray on some cologne before you went to the club, went to the bar, sprayed that? You put on them clothes, hey, got yourself together after you took your shower and everything, put on that cologne, and you thought, I'm gonna kill him in the club with this one. And let's be honest, if it worked, it worked. It was great quality if you got enough compliments. All right. Wait, am I lying? Walt, you still with me?
No, I was in the chat.
I'd say it was great quality if you got enough compliments, if you got the feedback that you wanted, right?
Period.
But I mean, hey, truth be told, it's like this. Like we said from the beginning, look, y'all, wear what you wear, review what you review, but no need to put down anything else. You know, it's at a point now where, you know, it's getting a bit redundant and it's getting a bit old on the scape of people talking down on the stuff that they don't do. You know what I'm saying? I give respect to Ross. Right. I give respect to Ross because I give respect to anybody that goes out there and is willing to test things on every level. High-end niche, indie niche, you know what I'm saying? Designer, Middle Eastern, hell, and just the up-and-coming clones. You know what I'm saying? Someone sends you something, you just want to review it just to give them a shot, right? Not to say that I don't respect others, but I respect them because at the end of the day, if your love is fragrance, you know, me personally, I love fragrances, so I'm going to review it all.
Facts.
That's what I had to come to terms with, right? I'm going to review it all because there's always someone that may not be able to get that recommendation, but they can get this one, or they can get this one, or they can get this one at different price points because at the end of the day, fragrance is about smelling good, whether it's to you or somebody else, but it's about smelling good. And it shouldn't be discriminated against, whether with one word or 2 words or 20 words, based on what brand you choose. If you smell good, you smell good. If you like it, you like it. Wear it, represent it. And I think that's
pride need to go take a nap, fam. You too consumed, bro.
Let me see what he's saying, man. Because let me see what he's saying. He said, I have a question. If you can read that someone definitely has the means, would you suggest a dupe to them or the original River McCoy?
Well, I literally said that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I've had people DM me about what to get, right? About recommendations and whatnot. Literally had them recommend. First thing I asked was, who are you buying it for? And a lot of them are surprised when I asked that. But some of them have come out and said, for me, quite a few of them said, I want to smell good to those around me, right? Second question I ask every time, how much you want to pay?
Boom. What's the budget?
You know what I'm saying? How much you want to pay? Because if you've got enough to buy this, hey, I'm gonna recommend it to you. But if you don't and you feel like you really need something close to it, hey, let me send you over here. Let me recommend this. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Sometimes they follow with, do you think I should just save and just get the real one? And I answer that. Depends on what you're willing to pay. And depends on what you think of the rendition. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, if it's going to take me 3 weeks and whatnot, I get the rendition because, hey, I get it. I'd wear it. It's going to get you compliments, or maybe it'll smell good. I can't say it'll get you compliments because there's so much into getting compliments outside of what you smell like. All right. But I tell them it smells good. It smells close. But if you want the real deal, because we know there are some people out here that just will not get it because it does not say YSL. It does not say Clive Christian. It does not say Creed on it. You know what I'm saying? We know some people that they want that. Hey, save your money. But it's based on that person, man. It's based on that person, and everybody's different. Everybody's different. Now, those who you got to go rewind to the original thing. This is not solely on Justin's review. This is on the concept that has been shared, not just by him, but by other people, whether inadvertently or directly, you know what I'm saying, about where clones are or where renditions are, or you know, it's one thing if you say, I just like Mr. Cologne. Mr. Cologne said, I don't do clones. He don't give a why. He just says, I don't do them, you know. I like the artistic nature, so I like to come up with the OGs, and he leaves it at that. Now, ironically, you know what Mr. Cologne posted on Instagram? A whole video about a whole cologne suitcase from a company where he is going to be doing reviews on clones, which I thought was interesting. One of the first things he said in there was that the quality is great.
Right. Because it's
who has more experience than Mr. Cologne in this field.
Right. And to Cara's point, and this is why you saw, you know, you see the bow ties, the big beards, you see all these people starting to incorporate more of this conversation, because again, there is a difference between the normal collector, enthusiast, hobbyist, and the content creator. When you are a content creator, how you measure success depends on what you're going to do. If you just want to talk about fragrance, talk about fragrance. And if the views don't come in, they're just not going to come in. That's not a bad thing, because if that's not what you're looking for, that's not what you're looking for. But even Cara said, clones get the views right now. That is the nature of the beast. However, what we try to do, and I'll speak for myself and hold myself accountable, at least to say, okay, at least I'm going to do my due diligence in how I present the information to you. Because my goal is not to get you to go buy. We have what, 8 different clones of like God of Fire? I don't need you to go buy all 8 different clones to figure out which one is the best one. But people are impulsive. And it goes back to what I said. Every house is going to come out with a version. You just don't want to wait to see. And we already know this, like Lattafa owns Maison Alhambra. Maison Alhambra uses lower quality oils so they can offer it at a lower price point. And then you have Lattafa, and then you have Lattafa Pride, and then Lattafa has their own niche company. So if some of y'all just took the time enough just to pause, to recognize, I'm going to wait for them to come out with something. I'm not even going to mess with, because I remember people was talking about with L'Exclusive, Blue Day Chanel. And they was like, Lattafa, I said, they better not touch it. I don't want them to do, I wouldn't want them to come out with a clone, because I know how their blends are. If I'm looking for anybody, just as far as the majors, I'm like, I would expect Afnan, but they sit back a lot. I would expect like French Avenue to be the one to probably make that approach and go at maybe even the Armoff. But if we're talking about quality, we're talking about blends, this, that, and the third, there are levels to it. But because we're impulsive, we just throw that out the gate. So now we get mad at people, like, because to what Deez was saying, like he said he bought over 100 and like over 120 clones. Like, respectfully, bro, nope. Who made you do that? I've done it. And I had to look back and be like, y'all about to see a whole wave of content come your way. Be like, what the heck was I thinking when I bought that? Because we are easily impressionable. But it's not the company's fault.
Nope.
That's the whole point. It's not on you. You bought 120 that you knew. So just because I bought 120, that does not boost the point that niche holds value. You are correct. It does. But I don't buy fragrances thinking I'm gonna resell it. That's another thing. So so my perception of value is going to be different anyway, because I'm not buying this with the thought of, I can get my money back if I sell this. Bro, I'm not doing that unless I'm trying to sell or make money. So again, as far as I'm not out here trying to make you go buy 120 fragrances to figure out the right one. And I have been guilty of this even in my own journey, which is why I'm so honest and authentic about as we go through this process. But I can't speak for everybody. Everybody doesn't do that. To Jim's point, you're gonna have some people that's gonna be out here. They're gonna say this is 1-to-1, and you should go get this. And if we was ignorant and we was those type of people, I can run you down the gamut of 10 people right now that y'all love, follow this, that, and the third, and we can tell you who those people, because they're selling to you. They are trying to get you to buy the fragrance. That's the whole point. They're not trying to express to you what this fragrance does, what it makes them feel like, who it's for, how you can really experience this. It's like, nah, bro, I really just want you to buy it. And because I'm really just trying to get that affiliate money. That's my main goal. Yeah. But I've gotten so slick with it where I've done this enough where I can present it in a way where it's like, you know, like, bro, like y'all see the amount of followers I got, man, it don't matter if 5 of y'all get mad and say I'm shilling. I got 200,000 other people that's going to hit that button. That's what's going to happen. That's the reality. But again, this is the main conversation. EQ talks about this all the time. You and Jason have talked about this. You decided to go to Joma Shop. You decided to go to Fragrance Buy. You decided to go to Gifted. You made the decision to go put your card information in that system. You made the decision to go Afterpay, Klarna, and all this other stuff so you can be out here and say you got everything, this, that, and the third. And I'm not talking about you, D's. I'm just saying people in general, because I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking you right now. We have all been guilty of, at the end of the day, I have to take accountability. So does the reviewer, and I stay on them, pause. But it's like, you have to take accountability for making the decision to buy or waste, quote unquote, all of that money when you knew. Because some people didn't know. But when you know, see, some people think Maison Alhambra is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Because when we do top 10s or top 5s, and I see the comments people make, I'll be like, oh my God, Jesus, you still wearing that? That is terrible. But to them, it's the greatest thing ever. So they don't know any better. We have to educate them. But some of y'all know better. So if you know that niche holds at value, why would you buy 120 cologne fragrances? Like that, that's not on us.
Right.
That's on us. Respectfully, fam.
Right. Let me point this out. I hear you, Dame, and I'm not, I don't know, but you know, but this is an example of where people feel is better. It is basically based on
your. You gotta quantify that, Dame. It's loud, but that don't mean it's better.
But it's his opinion. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's worn the other one and it wears better on his skin. You know, it is in this case. I'm not gonna say it's subjective, but it is based on your wear. You know what I'm saying? But here's my biggest thing. What you were touching on earlier. You were saying about what was you were just talking about the fact that it's people. That was one thing that he did touch on that I felt like he was kind of bailing the consumer out. Let's be honest, yeah, like you said, bro. At the end of the day, when it comes to the reason why they do stuff, their businesses are always in the mode of making money.
Right.
So like these brands, if the designers come out with it, of course they're gonna make a clone or a rendition or a dupe or whatever you want to call it to kind of go against it, to kind of play it out. The reason why there is such discrepancy and anger, you could tell in some of the disputes, the lawsuits and whatnot, is that if you were to look it up, boy, these clone companies are making millions. I'm telling you right now. I went into Dillard's the other day and I saw a good little wave of people going and smelling the cologne, right? I went into Neiman's and whatnot. Saw a good wave of people. Nice wave. Brother, I went to Classic Wholesale where they sell the Middle Easterns and they sell some niche and whatnot in there. Brother, when I tell you, it was almost like it was like Black Friday. It was like Black Friday in there. Real talk. You would have thought they was giving away colognes. And they were coming in and leaving. It was crazy. But there is a big movement for affordability, especially in this economy. I'm not going to get political and everything, but let's be honest. In this economy, there are those who have and those who don't, but everybody wants to smell good. And so they're looking for something within the price point. I know he touched on the fact that that value, there was an implication, I think, that where there was a amount of value based on the price. And I just don't see it. And the truth of the matter is this. All we're saying at the end of the day is this. All right. As a reviewer, as a person who's had colognes on various levels of perfumery, all right, from various perfumers and whatnot. Look, you wear what you wear. You like what you like. You buy what you buy, and you leave it at that. All right. When people start coming in and trying to alter someone's opinion, we know that's what you do as a reviewer. Right. But the thing is that you need to accept it as a reviewer. So you need to be responsible for what you say and in what way you lead people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know that when you go to certain people's lives, you're expecting to hear about certain things. When you go to Ross's live, you're expecting to hear about certain colognes, all right? Certain levels of perfumery, certain price points and everything, right? When you go to you, we know what we're going to expect. You know what I'm saying? Occasional niche, occasional designer, but at the end of the day, you're going to be talking about Middle Easterns, right?
I make content for my people, absolutely.
But you make it exactly, and you've done a video talking about, you know what, if you're going for the algorithm, you trying to get the views and the subscribers and whatnot, what are you going to review? But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you don't appreciate or understand the quality difference.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you're not out there trying to bring down the better to build up the Middle Eastern, and neither are you pushing the Middle Easterns down to build up the niche. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing where we say it's subjective, because you have to look at the angle of which people are using their words, using these numbers that, I'm a math major. I teach math. I know multiple ways to use numbers and how to angle it so that I can push one agenda or the other. All right. Too many times, and this is what it is. It's a lot of perfumers and whatnot out there saying, "Hey, I don't want to bring politics into my space." And you may not bring government politics in there, and that's fine. I get it. But you sure as hell are making fragrances political. And that is the biggest thing. Instead of where we are a fragrance community of talking about what smells good to us and what you would recommend based on this, that, and the third, fragrances have become so political that we can't even make a video. 9 times out of 10, you won't see a video where people aren't having to put a disclaimer out saying that, oh, this is my opinion or it's subjective, because we know that for whatever reason, for as Robe says, for view of people feeling or feeling like people are shilling or feeling like they're shilling, they have to put out a disclaimer. For people that don't want to deal with the backlash and the comments, they have to say, well, this is my opinion. It's like, if you're here on YouTube, you talk about how you feel. When those backlashes and those comments come, you either address them or you don't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. People that were asking, why are we talking about Justin's opinion? He made it public. And at the same time, we're not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with everything. I'm just stating my opinion on some of the points that he took. Walt is stating his opinion on some of the points that he took. And we are basically trying to weed things out so that people understand that regardless of all that was said, regardless of all that was felt from us and whatnot, the truth of the matter is, if we were to keep it real, people just need to talk about, and don't get me wrong. You talk about what you want to. I'm not your daddy. Right. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not any of that. I'm not your accountant, as EQ says. But people just need to keep it real on here and just stick to what you feel, what you review, what you get. You know what I'm saying?
Simple. And Rock Boy T, Silky Woods. But I would still buy Jazz just because of the bottle. because you guys know I've been talking about how much I like Goldfield and Banks. So he asked me that earlier, which if I had to pick one, which one would I choose? I'm gonna choose Silky Woods because it's definitely, I appreciate that. I like what Jazz did. I like what Fragrance World did. And I think the question, and this is probably gonna be one of the last things I say as a reviewer, what I try to present is I go back to the value, because if it only cost you $20 to make this fragrance, and when you start talking stuff like that, that's what I wish some like Justin could have spoke to, but maybe somebody, no disrespect to him, but maybe that's more, I've heard Neeb had this conversation, because when you have your own product, you're able to speak to that. You understand manufacturing costs and and sourcing and all those different types of things. But if something only costs $20 to make, is the value, is it worth me spending 10 times that? You know what I'm saying? Just because they say this is what it's worth versus this over here. Am I going to do I think it's worth spending 10x, 20x for something where it really didn't cost that much to make? You know what I'm saying? Over here, you know, I have something where it's like, well, this gets me about 80, 85% of the way there, if it's even that close. But there's a smaller gap between the MSRP and then what they're actually selling it for. That's where I think that's the conversation I try to have now. Is it worth spending this amount of money if this is as good as it is? It doesn't say that this is not good, that you bring this down and you boost this up. It's like, wow, as you started off, how fragrances smelled 4 years ago or even a year ago, like the blends, the materials, the perfumers, everything has gotten so much better. It's still not 1-to-1, but now because the quality has come up so much, how big is the gap as it relates to value? My thing is always a value conversation with people, not a fake conversation, not this manufacturing plant in China is on the clock from 8 to 5 making bags for LV. And then at 5:01, they turn that clock off and now they're making all the replica bags, because what's the difference? It's the same plant, like it's coming out the same place, but the name of the person selling it is different. So now, again, that goes back to a conversation. I immediately discredit, but like, I'm like, yo, and we already know with perfumer, we know there's a gap. We know we're not 1-to-1 as far as, but we're getting there in the next 10 or so years. And I'm not revisiting this conversation anymore, but mentally, because people are not going to they're not going to adopt the thing. It takes people a while to really accept things. Social media has kind of sped that up, where before it may have taken 20, 40 years or 50 years for people to kind of adopt something. You know, people hated tapes. You know, they was like, oh my God, I'm losing my 8-track. People hated CDs. People hated MP3s. People hated the internet. You know, they hated cell phone. They hate progression, because with progression, they don't see it as an opportunity for everybody to move forward. Progression is like the person that comes to work and you've been chilling, and it's like they come in and they're excited about being at a new job, and it's like, you're doing too much. And you got a problem with them because now it exposes that you have gotten kind of lazy, which goes back to what I said. I'm excited that this has forced niche companies and designer companies to say, let's really get back to the creativity of it, because now it's been cool with it. We've been able to sit back, but yo, they getting closer. It's still a distance, but it's like, dang, that's good. I wasn't worried about Latifah in 2000, but dang, what Latifah put out in 2025, or 2020, I'm like, woohoo. So it doesn't make me nervous, but it's friendly competition. It's like, okay, bro, I see you. You know what I'm saying? I raise you one. Let's go. That's my whole thing. And I'm not going to discredit Latifah any more than I'm going to discredit me. I'm not going to discredit nobody. I like this. I like that. And whatever you find yourself liking and loving, and you have the ability to go purchase, that's what you do. And that's my spiel.
There you go. And that's what it was. You know, I'll sum it up too. I mean, Justin, I liked this video until the end. Well, actually, I liked this video, period. But the truth of the matter was, I didn't have any discrepancies with it until the comparisons came. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, if you're not going to review, okay, that's why, cool, end it there. But then when you start putting down, it's kind of like, because, yeah, man, we gonna wrap it up, because at the end of the day, wear what you wear, all right? And here's the thing, one thing that we all tell you, one thing that I've been saying for a long time, hey, get your nose on it. All right.
That's it.
Get your nose on it. Buy a sample. If it's a Middle Eastern, not everybody has it, but if you can, talk to somebody, get them to send you a decant. There's decant places. Joel puts those things in the chat all the time, where they sell decants for these things for the low. You get enough and it's at a good price.
People in the community are decanting.
Yeah, and sending them out. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that there's plenty of ways for you to get your nose, but get your nose on them. The thing that I'm trying to establish is that people need to be, there needs to be less sheep in the community. All right, I've been saying this for years. You got shepherds, you got wolves, and you got sheep.
Facts.
And the reason why I worry about some of the angles that people talk about and speak on is because there's so many sheep out here. And this is not to disrespect anybody in the chat or anybody that watches any of us. But the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, we all know that there are people that are easily influenced. Now, whether you want to admit it's you or not, that's not for me to talk about. That's for you to discuss with yourself. All right. But we all know that there are people that are easily influenced. And so many of us will take advantage of that. All right. And instead of us telling our honest opinions and letting you decide on your own, whether you're going to blindly follow us or whether we tend to throw out little barricades to kind of shift you in our direction, whether it be for a number of things, whether it be because we got incentive, we're incentivized to do so, or whether you know, it just feels good having you come in the chat and tell us that hey, I got this because of you. There's a reason behind a lot of it. And all I'm trying to do is that there's nothing wrong with any of that. But I would prefer for the people that I communicate with in the chat and whatnot to go out there and just take this stuff with a grain of salt. But I know there's people that are easily swayed. So you know what? While they're giving their take at an angle, I choose to come online and give my take at an angle. And me, hey, those who have been here, you know I love to converse. You know I love a good conversation. Whether it ends up in a debate, which me and Jason have had plenty of times on this platform, or whatever. But conversation needs to be had, because there's not too many times that I'm gonna be okay with people taking a stance and that'll shoot people one way or another, in a sense of the fact that they won't. There's a lot of people that won't get their own opinion. They're gonna take the word. So my point is to get on here and tell people to realign them on the right path and say, hey, that may be his thought, but here's his thought. Find out for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Find out for yourself. All right. And that's it, man. That's it. We like I said, we weren't here to bash anything. Justin had a damn good video. Hell, I watched it 3 times. I liked a lot of what he said. Had some problems. I had some disagreements with the end. Doesn't take away from his point. Doesn't take away from the quality of video or none of that. But when you put your opinion out there, hey, everybody's going to be open to have their own opinion based on your opinion. And that's just the way it is. That's the way YouTube works. That's the way this space works. You know, you got people every day that come on here and say, well, you know, I know people were talking about this, but, you know, it don't smell like that to me. That's fine.
Right.
Disagree. And that's all it is. We're just having a conversation on where we agreed, which was plenty of points, and where we felt like the argument was weak. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make him any worse of a person, and he's not. It doesn't lessen him as a reviewer in my mind, because I still watch his content. I still will watch plenty of his content because I like his takes. We share interest in a lot of the same perfumes and styles and go from there. You know?
It's simple as that. And I just, his name carries weight, you know, which is why we're even having a conversation. And I think that's the biggest thing. You have to, I keep going back to this car. Y'all that fought, y'all know I say this all the time. Jims, you've heard me say this. As a reviewer, you you have to be, you know, people are impressionable. You know, people will hang on to your every word. People will buy, and it's cool when people be like, man, shoot, you know, I got to stop spending money, you know, because you got me buying. No. I'm happy to hear that the things that I've told you about that I like, that they have worked out for you. But you never gonna put that pressure on me to make me feel like you know, I'm making you spend the money. It's like, nah, and we get it. Ultimately, that's what it is. But it's like your name all of our names carry weight, no matter how big or small of a following that you have, you know, and that's the whole essence of it. Some people don't see it like that. But when you get these DMs and these emails, I'm gonna wrap it up with this is what means the most to me. And I sound like a Baptist preacher with 3 closings, me saying I'm gonna wrap it up again. But I had a guy, I had an army vet reach out to me. And I think this is what sums it up. I had somebody shoot me an email because I've been encouraging people to create content lately. And long story short, to sum his email up in one phrase, he said, I don't want to do it the wrong way. That literally, so this is why we're having the conversation, because there are people who are sitting back, who are so on the fence, like, so can I talk about this? Can I not talk about that? And we laugh, we joke, you know, I know we talk about fake clones and fake cameras and clone microphone. I know it's funny, but we don't like, there are legit people who are like, yo, I want to join the conversation, but bro, like, I don't want to be on one side or the other. So how do I do this the quote unquote right way? And I simply told him, which is the title, to sum it all up of what we talked about tonight. I said, bro, there is no wrong way to do this as long as you're being yourself. I don't care what you got to talk about. You talk about whatever you want to talk about. I gave him some real strategy, but I said, as long as you are being authentic to you, there's no wrong way to do this. Now, the trolls gonna come because, you know, it is what it is, and that's social media. But as long as you're being true to you and you're keeping it real, you're gonna be fine, man. You're gonna be fine. But it's unfortunate that we have people who are afraid to be a part of the conversation because they like, well, honestly, Kevin Garnett, I think, is the best basketball player ever.
Okay, well, we're not going.
No. I'm not talking about. I'm just saying, bro. It's a kid somewhere who really is like. That's all they know. They like KG is their GOAT.
No. We're not going to get on that because that kid is retarded, and so is the kid that got up there.
You can't say that.
Paul George is the GOAT. Boy, if you don't sit your ass down, that boy ain't got a championship and ain't took them nowhere but to a fatality.
I'm with you. I'm just trying to be. I'm trying to be empathetic for the kid or the person that has only had exposure to Lattafa Eternal Oud, and in their mind, that's the greatest fragrance ever. They don't. I mean, it's like you can only speak to what you've been exposed to, you know. So yeah.
True. I mean, I'm with you, bro, and we'll leave it there, man. Hey, look, y'all. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, get your own idea about these fragrances. You know what I'm saying? Get your nose on them. Get your own honest opinion. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being led and being influenced to try something, but try to experience it in a sample and build your own opinion. You know, the funny thing is that as an influencer, the truth of the matter is we should be influencing more people to be influencers of themselves.
That part. Think for yourself.
Unfortunately, as an influencer, because we don't have enough of these conversations and whatnot, checkpoints where people need to check themselves and realize what they're doing. Unfortunately, influencers typically just influence people down a road that some regret, some get lost in, you know what I'm saying? And some become lazy to a point where it's just, they're just buying whatever it is that they get, whatever it is that they say, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with it. Just don't come to me later on when you start smelling niche and you be like, huh, I've been listening to you all this time, and and there was a whole world of this, or vice versa, you know what I'm saying? Or those that have been buying the expensive one, they say, you know, I finally got my nose on Club Day Nuit, and you know what? Yeah, it's not a 1-for-1, but shit, I wore that to work, and I got so many compliments. So all we're saying is, you know, regardless of what people say, take their opinion with a grain of salt. Be led to make your own discovery. That's one of the things that we say in our closing statements. You know what I'm saying? You know, let every sip lead you to a new sip, and let every sniff lead you to a new discovery, because you should be guiding. Honestly, people can influence you, but you should be guiding yourself through your own journey.
That's good. Yeah.
In this fragrance realm. All right. You should be guiding. You should be learning what you like based on what you like, based on what works for you. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck. All right, let's be honest. I don't believe that shit. Well, most of these people are in here for compliments. All right. They get 10 damn fragrances, all right, and they wear them all. But guess what? That next week, they only gonna wear the 3 that got them compliments. I don't want to hear that bullshit.
Yeah, because if they don't get no compliments, they're not gonna wear them joints no more.
Oh,
Neat designer or clone.
No. Well, I'll sit at home. I'll go take a shower. I'll sit at home. I'll turn on the TV, watch my anime, and I'll spray on that oud whatever, and I'll just sit there and bask in greatness. Fuck out of here. I'm not buying that shit. I'm not buying that shit. You are trying to smell good, whether it be for yourself and half for other people. I don't care. All right. Take that elsewhere. I'm not buying it. All right. So with that being said, man, we're gonna go ahead and close the show. Man, this was a great conversation. Look, it was great. Hey, we definitely appreciate y'all for coming in and interacting. Hey, shout out to Blind Pride. Regardless, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, this is what it's all about. We ain't running from no discussions. All right.
Oh no, respect to everybody.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't running from nobody's disagreement. You know what I'm saying? I ain't running from none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I've stayed true to who I am. Now, I dare ask you, how many other people are? But with that being said, you know what I'm saying? Look, at the end of the day, wear what you wear, like what you like, buy what you buy. All right. You're not going to get any contempt from us. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure that your journey is curated by you and what you like and what you enjoy wearing and what people enjoy you wearing or what you smell like. All right. Let that be what leads your fragrance journey or the building of your fragrance wardrobe or whatever it may be. Let that be what leads you. All right. Not the influence of someone putting one above the other. And so you don't want to go there. Try it all. Figure it out for yourself so you have no regrets in the end. That's it.
Just don't buy another 120 Ds. I know you're not, but just don't buy another 120. None of y'all do that. No. If you want to get your money back, start doing reviews, fam. That's the only way you gonna get that money back. Yeah, you better start making some content, bro. Cause 120, my guy.
Content with the scent of the day. Make content with the scent of the day so we know what you're wearing in the chat, actually.
Facts. Because who was it? Somebody, was it Perfume Addict? Where's his name at? He
Yeah.
said, bro, somebody started off with an Armagh fragrance in one live, and by the time they got to the live at the end of the night, boys said they was wearing blue sapphire. I'm like, that's crazy, bro.
What?
That's crazy. But hey,
What?
yeah, I don't get it, yo. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. Hey, you know what I'm saying? But hey, it's been a special night, man. It's been a great night. Glad to get back in here. Glad to have some conversation with a great person, you know what I'm saying? Getting into your content and everything. We've had several chats about this, man. Hey, it's good to say it on the mic, you know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
like we said, it's a damn shame that I got to repeat myself several times in here and even at the end, but shout out to Justin. All right. Great video, great content, great reviewer. Love his selection, have been led to purchase based on a couple of his selections. All right. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do when I get finished with this? I'm gonna share the link to his video in the description. All right. So anybody that has any questions, you can go back to it and see for yourself. You know, like it, give him a shout out, leave a comment, and do the same for us. You know, but shout out to him and you know everybody who was here. How about you, Walt?
I'm good. Like I said, end of the conversation. A couple of y'all, I know y'all gonna be petty, and y'all gonna tag Justin, send it to him. Please do. Tell him watch the whole thing, and tell him I will run the conversation back for him because I want to ask him anytime, any day. I will take off work, brother. I just want to ask you, what was the point? That's all I want to know. Like I don't have a problem. I just want to know what the point is, you know, and we can chop it up, have a great conversation because some of y'all. Whoo! Fragcom is a beautiful place. It is like gumbo. It is a smorgasbord of all these different ingredients. But yeah, man, dope conversation. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate the invite, and look forward to chopping it up about some other stuff. Cause this right here, Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey. It is what it is. This is what you sign up for when you get on YouTube, baby. You sign up for the good and the bad. And unfortunately,
thank you, Roy. Thank you.
You just got to take the bad and turn it into something funny. I laugh. You know what I'm saying?
You do. It's great content.
You know what I'm saying? It's all entertainment to me. But let me say this too. I wanted to say this at the beginning, real quick before I end this. All right. I don't give a shit what they're saying. The internet is a real place. Okay. Hear me out. The internet is a real place. YouTube is a real place. You know, you want to know what's fake? What's not real? I love y'all, but some of you motherfuckers in the chat ain't real. All right. You're not keeping it real. Okay. Hey, internet's real because your ass is here. I'm here. Y'all got to start keeping it real.
It's like
be
Pam.
real to yourselves, be real with me, be real with the chat, and stop fooling us with them sin of the days. Tell me what you're really wearing. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't real, y'all.
If it's curved, just say
she ain't real, y'all.
Hey, shout out to Curve. Anyway, though, but hey, with that being said, man, look, glad you were able to join us, Walt. For real, it's been a blessing,
man. Absolutely,
great night, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's been a heck of a night. You know what I'm saying? But now's the time to say goodbye to all our little friends. MIC KEY SIP SNIFF. Anyway, but hey, with that being said, hey, let every sip be a sip of inspiration. There you go, Jason. And let every sniff lead to a new discovery. Man, thank y'all for coming out. We really appreciate you for being here because you could be anywhere but here, but you chose to spend your little time with us. And for that, we are forever grateful. Walt, thank you for coming through. Hey, that being said, y'all, love you. Shout out to y'all. Keep it real. Internet's a real place. And we'll see you next time.